In this video, we're going to introduce some basic terms for understanding global conflict. When political scientists talk about conflict, really what they're referring to is actions, typically military actions that are intended to destroy or occupy, injure, incapacitate, or pretty much control another country. Maybe not just a country, maybe a group of people, or it could be a group of countries. And conflict is typically military, but it could also be economic through forms like embargoes or sanctions, and it can also be information-based through propaganda, but also through things like cyber attacks and cyber warfare. Now, when we describe conflict, the two different parties, or multiple parties for that matter, involved are called belligerents. The most common typology of conflict is when you have two different belligerents that are at war with each other or in conflict over something. We call that state-based conflict. There's often a border dispute, or there might be some other kind of territorial conflict that causes one state to come into conflict with another one. That is state-based conflict. Probably the most common type of conflict that we think of when we're describing global conflicts. Another type is asymmetric conflict. So this can be a state-based conflict, but it happens when one of the factions, one of the belligerents, is a lot larger or a lot more powerful than the other. And so it's a very one-sided. That's how you might want to think about it, asymmetric conflict. Now, it's also possible that the conflict happens within a state. We call that intra-state conflict. The belligerents are part of the same country. And a classic example of this is the American Civil War, when the southern states seceded, and then the Union and the Confederacy then fought a brutal, protracted civil war. Final type of conflict that we come across is non-state conflict. The belligerents in this one aren't necessarily two states, but it could be something else, like a terrorist group or criminal gang, or perhaps a group of hackers that are conducting cyber warfare across borders. And the belligerents here, the people perpetrating the aggression or the conflict, aren't necessarily belonging to a single state, and they definitely don't use that as part of their identity. They operate across borders and are not located to one geography. So just to recap, when we're talking about global conflict, we're typically referring to some kind of destructive action involving two or more belligerents. They can be two states in state-based conflict. We can also have asymmetric conflict where the parties are not equal in size or capabilities. Intrastate conflicts, like civil wars that we've seen in American history, places like Angola, Democratic Republic of Congo. And then, of course, there's non-state aggression, when these actors don't really confine themselves to international borders.